Good morning. It's really a pleasure to be here because of what this meeting represents as a step forward in a very important technology, a technology that I was deeply involved in my career before coming to Congress. I did spend a few years developing a smart meter for residential use and understanding how that would go to use and how that would be a part of the development of our electrical grid was very instructive to me. The electric grid in this country has some very big challenges in terms of meeting the demand, in terms of cybersecurity, in terms of physical security, and in terms of providing energy in an efficient way. And smart grid technology can meet and help us meet those needs. And not only that, but it can help create lots of jobs. And I've seen that happen as well. So whether you're in wind energy and you want to integrate into a system with an intermittent power supply, or if you're a baseload like nuclear, or if you're a customer that wants to make sure that your data is secure, the people aren't tapping in and getting your private information, to getting your Social Security numbers and so on, then what we're going to be talking about here today is very important. It's great to see people that are on top of this, that are going to be supporting it, and they're actually doing the development. So I welcome you here this morning, and I want to see what happens. And I'm looking forward to your meeting next week as well. So there's a lot of exciting things. You guys are on the very tip of the spear, so to speak. We've got some great panelists that know from their experiences in their part of the world how they can benefit and how you can play in this world. So is there anything else? I'd love to see the environmental aspect of the Environment and Energy Study Institute. We need to reduce pollution. We need to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Smart grid technology is going to be a part of that. And providing reliable energy to this country. It's a national security issue. It's an economic issue. And it's something that we need to take seriously if we want America to continue its role as the greatest country in the world. And so thank you for coming, and thank you for participating. Thank you for inviting me to say a few words, hopefully inspire people just a little bit more to get what they're going to get done today.
Great. Any questions for the council? He can stay and take a few questions. I guess one question I would just put to you is, do you think that we're going to get any kind, or what's the best way to help move the energy policy in this country?
Well, I mean, that's a big question. Energy policy is it's a very controversial. It's very partisan right now. There's a lot of folks that are worried about the trend toward a reduction of coal and the increase in natural gas. Also, as I mentioned earlier this morning, nuclear power is going to have to play a role. So I would just say be involved with your representatives. I mean, get to know who represents you back home. Visit them once in a while. You know, a lot of what happens in Washington depends on relationships. Policy is important, but if you know somebody and they know you, and you have something you want them to look at in terms of policy, it's much harder for them to say no when they know you personally than when they don't know you. I just want to say that much. And so keep involved, get to know your representatives, understand the policy issues. I know it's work, but it pays off, and relationships are kind of fun anyway.
There you go. It doesn't get better than that.
Yes, sir.
You spoke about reliable energy being a national security issue.
Absolutely.
Can you expand on where you see the biggest threats for our national security in this frame?
Well, yeah, I can. There's a couple areas. First of all, there was a physical attack in a substation in California earlier this year, or might have been late last year, but just by luck, it didn't end up taking down the whole Bay Area electrical grid. So I think physical security is very important. We need to understand where what substations, what power stations are vulnerable, and how to protect them at minimum cost effectively. I think that's probably the most immediate thing. We also know cybersecurity is a very big potential vulnerability that we might have as well. So those two things. Of course, depending on where you are in the country, if you're in New England, you're vulnerable to natural gas supplies. And if you're out west, you know you have the water issues. Another issue of very big vulnerability is natural disasters, which we've seen what happened in Fukushima. Not only affected Japan, but it affected the whole world in terms of Germany deciding to discontinue using nuclear power. So there's a number of big threats out there that we need to address, and that's something that's incumbent upon this group to set your foot into that frigid water and try and figure out where national policies should go and give us the results so that we have some guidance. Yes, sir, in the back.
Do you see anything that the federal government could do to encourage states to get utilities to harden their grids for EMP or something, that sort of stuff?
Well, no, I think that's a great question. You know, the federal FERC, their role would be to give guidance. But I think the important thing is that we need to have standards that that states and utility companies can agree to. And until we have a good set of standards, then it's going to be very hard for the FERC to enforce any kind of a meaningful reform on a national basis. So I would encourage the utility companies to move forward in developing those standards. That would be, I think, the most important thing we could do nationally before FERC can actually start taking steps. Yes, Peter.
Would the smart meter installation around the country represent in any way a cybersecurity threat? And do you see FERC or state commissions addressing that?
Well, the answer to that is there is going to be some potential vulnerability. I don't know how. I'm not well informed on the details of those installations to answer your question, but certainly when you introduce online access from customers, there's going to be some amount of vulnerability, and we need to have the best possible standards and the best possible equipment out there to make sure that vulnerabilities aren't exposed and exploited.
Thank you ever so much for being here, and we're also hoping to take a leadership role on these important issues. And we're all going to count on you to come and work with you on.
Okay. Well, you know, we're just establishing the bipartisan Smart Grid Caucus in the House. And you might ask your representatives to look into joining that caucus, and it'll help us move the ball forward and keep people informed. And I mean, there's some fear out there that a smart grid is going to lead to a breach of personal security. Like it might be related to NSA or something, and that's not the case. We need to make sure that people are informed about what the advantages of smart grid technology are so that we can continue to move forward in this very important area. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Thank you very much. And I'm